Greetings, Ben Murray here with another edition of SaaS Metric School. Welcome. Today, talking gross profit or gross margin. It is a fundamental financial topic that every SaaS founder must understand. Of course, every SaaS CFO must master. And really, every operator of a SaaS business must understand the economics of gross profit within your SaaS company. So, today's episode, should I be worried if I have a 60% gross profit? So, first, well, what is gross profit or what is gross margin in SaaS? Well, we calculate this by taking our revenue minus our cost of goods sold or our cost of revenue, and that equals our gross profit or our gross margin. And then, of course, we take that number, divide by our revenue, and we get our gross profit percentage, our gross margin percentage. So that's how we calculate gross profit. Of course, it relies on a correct setup of our SaaS P&L. That, of course, we have revenue in the revenue section, but we have the right expenses and COGS. And that's a big deal in SaaS that we get that right. Next step, of course, if we have multiple revenue streams, that we can calculate margins by revenue stream. Also, very important for fundamental SaaS financial management. So, with a 60% gross profit, should I be worried? Of course, it depends. First thing I look at is your revenue size and then your growth rate. So if you're early stage, let's say you're a couple million ARR and you have a nice growth rate, I'm not going to be too concerned yet if you have 60% gross profit. But really, from my hands on experience with SaaS companies and helping them, early stage SaaS usually have a pretty high gross profit because early stage, maybe we don't need tech support yet. Maybe we just have some light onboarding. Of course, we have hosting and COGS. So usually I see very high gross profit margins in early stage SaaS because then as our business model develops, now we've got to hire that first tech support head. Now maybe we add customer success if they don't sell, and those of course they're coded to COGS. And services just depends, if you have any sort of onboarding, customer configuration, setup, training, and if we have a services function. So usually we start building out those departments as we scale, and then we start growing into our gross profit footprint. But if you're a little bit later stage, say you're 3 to 10 million and you're not growing that fast and you have decent expenses and COGS that's producing a 60% gross profit, then we probably should be a little concerned if we have slower revenue growth, if we have low gross profit, because it is a big hindrance to our cash flow and really producing nice, consistent financial returns. Now, if you're above 10 million ARR and growing rapidly, of course, I could see a depressed gross profit because we're investing heavily in COGS. We have to invest ahead of that revenue growth. But eventually, either way, we need to see a path to 80% gross profit. And 80% gross profit is that pure play, best in class gross profit percentage for SaaS companies. So we need that path to that 80%. And if we can't get there, as we're forecasting our business and revenue's growing up, but COGS are going up and we're still stuck in the 60s, then that's a problem. Then we've got to look at, do we have pricing issues? Do we have a cost infrastructure issue within our COGS section? So again, it depends. Early stage SaaS usually see very high gross profit, but then you start building out COGS. And then if you dip down into the 60s or even lower in the 50s, and your slow growth, yeah, that could be a problem. If you're high revenue growth, then of course we're investing. But again, we need to see a path to that 80% pure play SaaS gross margin. So again, one of those things that it just depends. But step number one is calculate an accurate gross profit for your business. Step two is calculate margins by revenue stream. So you know what's contributing to for example, 60% gross profit, or maybe what's contributing to your 80% gross profit. So fundamental SaaS financial management for SaaS companies have to understand your gross profit. So a little bit about 60% gross profit, and should we be worried with that?